We are building a 64-acre conservation area right smack dab in the middle of 6.2 million people. That is absolutely remarkable.
My name is Jesse DeJagger and I'm the Manager of Capital Projects and Assets at Credit Valley Conservation. I'm responsible for land acquisition, public realm planning, and taking the conservation area into operation in 2025. So we're standing right now at the top of Cell 4A, which is a forest community and one of the highest points of the landform of the conservation area. Behind me, you can see Marie Curtis Park and the beach, which is the tie-off to the project area. And you can see some of the rolling topography behind me. Over here, we see some of the middle island being created right now. The core of it is under construction. And in the background, we have spectacular views of the city of Toronto, as well as Toronto Island. As we swing around this side, we get some great views of the promontory cell, which will be the highest point in the conservation area when it's completed. Right now, it's just under construction, but by 2025, we'll have trails up to the top and spectacular views for people. Over to this side, we are looking down the shoreline at the city of Mississauga, and we have some great views of the barge piers, both the western and eastern piers, and those are spectacular features that we're going to check out in a few minutes. The Jim Tovey Lakeview Conservation Area is geographically located in a very unique place along the north shore of Lake Ontario. In many ways, it bridges and connects different watersheds and political boundaries. Historically, the site lies along treaty boundaries with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation between what's known as the Toronto Purchase in 1805 from the former mouth of Etobicoke Creek and stretching eastwards, encompassing all of the city of Toronto, and the head of the lake purchase, which is in 1806, which from the same boundary stretches westward along the shore to the Credit River and beyond. So this is also the dividing point between watersheds. Those are the Credit Valley and the minor tributaries starting at Applewood Creek and west, including the Credit River, and those of Etobicoke Creek watershed and others eastward, such as the Humber, Don, and Rouge rivers. And the conservation area also connects municipal boundaries between the region of Peel and city of Mississauga and to the city of Toronto at the tie-off at Marie Curtis Park Beach. So you can see how this project lies at the intersection of geographic and administrative boundaries and helps to draw many of the key project partners together. The lands and waters of the project area have seen many historical changes over the past centuries. This area is the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat peoples, the Haudenosaunee or Six Nations, and importantly, this is both the traditional territory and treaty territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, an Anishinaabe people group. And the Mississaugas continue to have an enduring presence both on the land as well as having an active role in helping to steer and guide this very restoration project. Early agricultural uses of the area included many orchards, pastures, and grain fields, and benefited from being close to markets and ports, as well as the first east-west roadways and rail lines through the area. In 1940, the small arms production and training facility was developed by the Department of Defense to support the war effort for World War II. And the lands and waters of the project site played host to an artillery range, with the Canadian military firing howitzer shells out to buoys about 1,000 meters out into the lake over what is currently the project site. By the early 1950s, flooding concerns on Etobicoke Creek, as in many watersheds of southern Ontario, became a concern. And in 1954, Hurricane Hazel struck and proved to be deadly. So in addition to lives and property loss, the storm altered the mouth of Etobicoke Creek and spurred the transition of the floodplain lands occupied by cottages at that point into what is now Marie Curtis Park. The early 1960s saw the development of the Lakeview Thermal Generating Station by Ontario Power Generation, which was a coal-fired power plant that came to be known as the Four Sisters for the four large smokestacks from the plant that dominated the landscape, and which boaters used as a landmark to help navigate. The G.E. Booth wastewater treatment facility was also developed in the early 1960s to help meet the servicing needs of a growing region, and it has been expanded and upgraded continually since then and still plays a critical role in managing the water quality of the region. In 2006, the Four Sisters were demolished, much to the relief of many community residents, such as Jim Tovey, who envisioned a future without pollution and industry impacting the community, and one where the connection to the water would be restored and where land uses could be set right for future generations. It is in the wake of that demolition and the fight for the future of those lands that the seeds of the future Jim Tovey Lakeview Conservation Area were planted.